We got Violent Bob Ross back here on the program. Luis Pena, who's coming off a win over Steven Peterson this past weekend at UFC Nashville. Luis, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, James. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Congrats on the win. Before we talk about the performance and everything else, you did miss weight ahead of the matchup. For those who don't know, what was the issue? Why did you have trouble making weight?
Um, Man, I just had there were just some things outside of my control, but I mean, honestly, it's my fault. I take full responsibility for missing weight. I really don't want to get into like the details of everything because I don't really want to make excuses about it, you know?
Okay, fair enough. Well, I think part of or one of the things that people was wondering or were wondering after the fight is I know Steven and his team seemed pretty upset after the fight and everything, and I think part of that was because of the fact you didn't take the extra hour. I don't know if you can reveal anything about that, but 'cause it seemed like you came in overweight and you didn't try and make the extra weight after that.
Man, I was like, that's the thing. It's like by that point, I was already like I was dead. I mean, you can ask my coaches. Like I was laid out there at the gym. Just I couldn't do anything. I could barely move. And I have to go get checked this week for some problems in my lower back because I don't know if like the being that dehydrated. I think I might have pulled something in my lower back either prior to the fight or in the fight.
Let's talk about the fight itself. You got the win. Was there more pressure going into this fight because of the fact you had trouble with the weight cut and you were coming off a loss? Have you ever felt any pressure like that heading into a fight?
I don't know. I didn't really feel pressure. I kind of like you just have to like get over with the whole weight cut thing and the missing weight. Like you have to get over that really quick in order to be able to perform. So um, it sucked and it was always in the back of my mind. But at the same time, I was more focused on going and out there and performing.
Right, and you certainly did. You got the win. It was a unanimous decision. I know you would have liked the finish, but you must have been pretty happy with your performance in that fight.
Yes and no. I mean, I feel as though like I made a lot of mistakes and there's a lot of things I need to go and work on. But at the same time, I also kind of proved to myself that I could hang in there with guys that have been doing this a lot longer than me.
Yeah, and Peterson had an experience edge heading into this one as far as the pro fights go. Anything about him as an opponent that surprised you in the fight?
I mean, not necessarily. He was. I knew he was going to be hard to put away. I knew he was going to be super tough and keep coming forward and keep bringing the fight to me. And he lived up to it. So I mean, I wouldn't say it really surprised me at all.
After the fight, like I mentioned, you got your hand raised. It seemed like you went over to gesture to shake, Steve's hand, and him and his coach, they weren't happy. Have you talking to them? Have you spoken to them? Sorry, after this fight at all, or has it just been dead silence?
Nah, I mean, I haven't reached out. They haven't reached out. Uh,
Just leave it at that. Yeah, no, that makes sense. What about the UFC? Did you speak to them after the fight at all, just about your performance and getting the win?
Not really. I spoke to Sean Shelby after missing weight, and that's about it. But I didn't really speak to anybody in the UFC after the fight.
Okay, I guess that's more up to your management. They'll kind of talk about what's next and all that stuff. When you came off the Ultimate Fighter, you were beloved. People loved you. I know your social media following just exploded as far as your Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. But I know in MMA, obviously the cardinal sin is missing weight. How have you dealt with sort of the backlash? I'm sure because fans they can be very unforgiving.
I mean, it is what it is. I just decided to stop really worrying about it. People are gonna love you, they're gonna hate you. That's just the nature of the sport. Fans are fickle.
Yeah. But I think at the same time, I'm sure you're realizing who's in your corner. I mean, good or bad or anything that happens. I mean, you came off a win. You'd think that people would give you some credit for that. But have you sort of seen the true colors of people during this period as well?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. There's no question that I've seen, who's really going to stick by me and who's, throwing me under the bus no matter what. But and that's the great thing about this is, you get to learn who's truly in your corner and who's truly there for you. And it's been a really good experience. I actually had a pretty good talk with Duran last night. My roommate Duran Win last night, who's going to be looking to make his UFC debut here soon.
Yeah, I saw him tweet out something about June. I don't know if that date's official, but we're excited to see him in the UFC. He's a guy that we're especially for the middleweight division, it's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think people are going to be really excited to see him. He's got a really good, exciting style. This is one of the things you were talking about last night. Is just how he might not be as nearly as hyped up as a guy like Kron Gracie, but he essentially is kind of like that version, like wrestling's version of Kron Gracie coming in to make his debut. And I think it's going to be really exciting because like the thing people don't understand is like not only does he have this great wrestling pedigree, but he really does. He has come a long way in the striking, especially even since like I first met him on the show.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to that debut. I know also after the fight, you got to hang out with Bryce Mitchell, who also got a win there. You guys are good friends. You have the same manager. How was the post fight celebrations after the fight?
All was really good, like it was that's I got to watch his fight getting ready, getting warmed up for mine, and he got to watch mine afterwards. It was just like it was a really good moment. We're two guys from Arkansas. We actually grew up in the same hometown, so it was just like a really cool moment for us. I'm actually going back home here in a couple weeks, so we're gonna get some training in together too.
Okay, that's good to hear. And I know one of your other buddies from Arkansas, Thomas Gifford, got signed to the UFC. I just talked to him maybe 20 minutes ago. How happy are you for him? Because he's a guy who really grinded on the regional scene and finally got his call.
Dude, I'm super happy for him. Thomas is one of the guys, when I before I ever started thinking about fighting, he was grinding his way on the regional scene in Arkansas. So like to see him finally get the call up is it's awesome. I'm super happy for him.
I know you got to take care of a few things medically, but any idea when you're looking to return to the cage? Are you thinking in the summer, maybe like last year on International Fight Week?
Yeah, most definitely. I've already talked to my managers. We're looking at late June, early July, maybe. Yeah, they were even, they that's one thing they brought up was International Fight Week. And, I'm not opposed to it. I would love to to go back and fight on International Fight Week. Just like the anniversary of my UFC debut would be pretty cool.
Any opponents in mind, or you just leave that up to Matt, your manager?
Uh, yeah, pretty much at this point. I mean, I understand it's probably gonna be hard to find someone to want to sign the contract. So at this point, I'm just gonna leave it up to the managers of the UFC. Whoever's in there, whoever they brings, put in front of my face. That's how I'm going.
You talked about getting healed up, bumps and bruises and all that. Are you going to be talking to the UFC PI about your weight, or is that something you just manage on your own?
Yeah. I mean, I have a good team behind me, so I'm gonna just go ahead and like, reevaluate that on my own. Yeah, for the most part.
Well, I was going to say the plan is to stay at featherweight, though, right? That you're pretty
Yeah.
committed to that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I figured. I just, obviously, I know, everyone's going to make assumptions, but I mean, you know your body better than anyone, right? So, I mean, it's just one of those things, and we're not here to make excuses at all. What was the first post-fight cheat meal you had after the fight? Because Nashville is an awesome city, and they have some really good food.
Oh man. Um, Honestly, I can't even. It was like some 24-hour diner because like I didn't really get the chance to eat right after the fight. I just ate there in the green room. But we went out. I actually went out. I was trying to meet up with Bryce, but I think he went like I think he because we have the same manager and everything, and he went to the same party as me. But then I think he left right before I got there because he's not a big drinker or anything, and I'm not either. But I stayed out a little bit longer just because I was like I wanted to be out there with my group, and I think we just went to some 24-hour diner after that. And I got a burger and some chicken tenders.
Nice. That's good. Sounds good to me. And yeah, again, congratulations on the win. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours, man.
You can find me on social media at Violent Bob Ross on Twitter and Instagram. I'd like to thank all my sponsors. I got a ton of them. Art Street Wheel and Tire, Platinum Jewelers in Memphis, Excel Ford in Cabot, Arkansas, Iron Jaw Custom Mouth Guards, Fuji BJJ, Avila's Translations LLC, um, Armored Nutshells, They actually saved me this fight. I almost caught a knee to the junk and it didn't hurt. So I definitely recommend you go and order an Arbor nutshell.